But I think that for the fans of New Jersey, it was nice to reminisce, to thank them, but at the same time, look forward. I think it was a hopeful kind of event also that, some of the barriers to success that have existed in New Jersey, I think are getting removed with going over to Brooklyn, and hopefully the franchise will thrive at that point. And I think if you're a Nets fan who has over the years followed the team, been a fan, goes to a handful of games, you can still do that in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully the team will benefit from the revenue streams, the interest, the fans that'll come out, and become more of a magnet for free agents, become easier to build a winning team, and everyone in the New York metropolitan area can celebrate.
What's your favorite all-time New Jersey Nets moment as an announcer? Do you have one?
Yeah, I think going to the NBA Finals the second time always stood out for me, because the first time was overwhelming. We weren't prepared for it. I think everyone from staff to players to coaches, I think we were all a little overwhelmed just to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little surreal, and it happened so quickly, and you never thought it was going to happen. The second time around, we really got to enjoy it. I think that the team blew through the playoffs.
Yep.
It was almost like they were on a collision course with the finals. That night when they tied the series at 2-2 in the Meadowlands, beating the Spurs to tie the series, that was, I think, the high point of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always do look back to that Game 5 against Indiana in 2002. First-round series.
That was amazing.
With a number one seed, they won that double overtime elimination game against the Pacers. That was a great moment because that legitimized the whole run. Nobody really could believe that team went from 26 wins to 52 wins and got the top seed. They were all still skeptical that they could win in the playoffs. They were facing an Indiana team that had been injury-plagued throughout the year, but it started to come together and were much better than an 8 seed. They ended up winning that series, and the next 2 years probably don't exist without winning that Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the moments that stand out. And, the first year, we get to the finals, and I remember the great PR executive with the NBA, Brian McIntyre, saying to me, hey, savor this moment, because there are guys in your position that work with a team for 30 years and never get to call an NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
And I ended up, fortunately, being able to do it 2 years in a row. My first 2 years as a full-time play-by-play announcer.
The timing is amazing.
So you don't understand. You don't realize it until you go through years like the 12-win season, like I did a few years ago,
mm-hmm.
and the last couple of years with no playoffs. And you try not to let your job get caught up in wins and losses, because that's not really our job. But it does help when you're winning and the games are exciting and they're important, and people are really paying attention. But I think sometimes the bad helps you realize the good, and I think that's what we've had over the years, and I hope there'll be some better times ahead.
Seems like everyone's got an opinion on the new Brooklyn Nets logos. What do you think?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I don't know if I think once the uniform and everything is unveiled, people have a different perspective on it than just being a logo and a color scheme. But I like the simplicity of the black and white, and I know the sales have been brisk. I think I saw a press release where the sales were in one day were double what they were the whole year prior. So
wow,
somebody's doing something right.
Yeah. Any inclination as to what you think D-Will do this summer?
I don't have any information. I think the Nets franchise has handled his being a Net as well as they can. They've developed good relationships. They've made him feel wanted and respected, and I think Darren knows that the team has given him input. They've
mm-hmm.
listened to him, and they've made an effort to show him that they're looking to win right away. And there's not much more you can do. He'll have to make a decision that's best for his family and his career. And I think the Nets have basically they've done everything right. They've laid it all out for him, and now it's his decision. But I think they've done a good job of convincing him that this is the place he should be, and Net fans hope that that's where he stays.
Now let's take a couple minutes to talk about something that's important. In your early 20s, you were diagnosed with FSHD, which is a form of muscular dystrophy. Now, not a lot of people know about what exactly FSHD is, and you started the Chris Carrino Foundation to help raise awareness and money for research to help find a cure. Please tell our listeners what FSHD is and explain why you started this very personal foundation.
Well, Tom, it stands for facioscapulohumeral dystrophy. I think a lot of people think of muscular dystrophy. They think of the Jerry Lewis telethon milder cases that you wouldn't know. You probably wouldn't know with me unless you saw me try and get out of a chair or try and go upstairs. A very difficult thing to do, and it's a degenerative condition. And a lot of adults have to live with it every day of their lives and know that it doesn't get better and there's no cure and there's no treatment. It took me a long time to be comfortable enough in my own skin and in my career to come forward and talk about it. But once I did, I felt like it was important in what we've been able to do and the money we've raised. We've started research projects, the amount of people and calls that I get where I'm able to talk to people and make people feel better about themselves. I think that's made it all worthwhile to come forward and talk about it. And we are, right now focusing on one major event per year. We have a dinner that we'll do our second annual dinner dance on July 19th here in the New York area. If anyone is interested, you go to chriscarrinofoundation.org, get all the information on that. But we're going to continue to work hard to try and help people, and it's been a worthwhile effort so far, and I hope it grows, and I hope our network of people throughout the country grows, and we'll be able to expand and raise more awareness, get more people interested in helping us, especially research scientists, things like that, who see that there's some interest, there's some money behind this organization. Maybe they can start their own network and their own research project, knowing that there's something that they can do to help. And I don't know exactly where it all will lead, but it was a difficult decision to open up about it. But once I've done it, I wish I had done it sooner.
Yeah, it's a tremendous thing what you're doing, giving a voice to this. And you mentioned several times that your wife, Laura, was really important and the one who really helped you go public with this and start the foundation. How important has she been to you in your life?
Well, not just in this. I mean, in every aspect of my life, she's changed my life for the better. And, behind every good man, there's a good woman to support you. And, she only knows me having it. She didn't know me before. She's been there and supported me, and I tell her all the time I need her in so many ways. I couldn't do this all without having somebody like her behind me, and she also was the one who spurred me on to do it and really pushed me to do something. And I think I always had this in the back of my mind, but I'm a bit of a procrastinator, and she's not, and she sort of shoved me in the right direction. And the thing about when you live with something like this, which is difficult on someone, what you need to remember is that it doesn't absolve you from anything else in life, any of life's hardships or joys, and you have to just work a little harder to achieve those things. And one of my dreams is to have a family and a great marriage, and that's what I have. And you have to work at it like anybody else without a disability. It just makes it all that much sweeter when you can accomplish it. But you still have to remember to do the things in life that matter. I think it's a lesson for everybody to learn. And don't take things for granted, and just live every day to the fullest. And I meet a lot of people who are a lot worse off than me physically, and they're able to keep a positive attitude and accomplish things and do great things, and that inspires me. And when they tell me that I'm helping them out, that's all worthwhile. Even friendships I've been able to make with people that, not even just FSHD, but other types. I mean, I went to go see yesterday a young man who suffers from Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, who was a big Net fan and used to come to every game. And I sort of just accidentally ran into him one day at the arena, and we ended up talking and developed a relationship. And he had done some artwork that they displayed at one of the courthouses in New Jersey City, and he asked me to come look, and I went, and I was so impressed
second annual Chris Carrino Foundation Dinner and Dance will be on July 19th at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, New York, as you mentioned. To learn more about FSHD and the Chris Carrino Foundation, please log on to www.chriscarrinofoundation.org. It's a pretty noble cause, something everybody should definitely take a look at. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. This was a lot of fun.
Tom, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Everyone check out Chris on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @ChrisCarrino. Chris, thanks again. All the best.